Hello and welcome to the first episode of Creep It 100. I'm Mark, and I'm here with Kinson.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And we also have Jeanette.
Hello, hello.
And we are your hosts. We are also known as the Twisted Trio. We are a variety horror show podcast. We talk movies, true crime events, and anything in between. Week 1 of the month, we all watch a movie, and I, Mark, will be hosting the first week of every month.
I, Jeanette, will be hosting next week's episode, which we will be talking about your favorite Reddit stories, supernatural stories, anything that has to do with conspiracy theories, so get ready for that.
Hey, guys. Kinson here. On the third and fourth week of the month, I'm going to be hosting any true crime stories that we got. So anything that is going to be real, scary, with real proof, documents, we will be covering it in a 2-part episode per month. And we're going to go over everything that's scary about it, maybe some solutions to what happens, or if there's no solutions, we'll go over the unsolved mysteries for you guys.
All right, and since this is week 1, we all watched the extended cut of The Exorcist last night. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first episode. All right, going into this, I had already seen the extended cut and the theatrical cut. I don't know about Jeanette or Kinson. I know Kinson has not seen it, period.
No, I've never seen it. I've never even seen anything about it, to be honest with you.
Okay. So your first time going into The Exorcist, what did you know and what were you expecting?
The only thing I knew about The Exorcist is I saw a picture of that creepy girl's face, and I saw something about her head spinning, and then I knew there was going to be a bunch of green goo. That's actually the only 3 things that I knew about the entire movie.
That's basically the plot. No, I'm just kidding.
It's close.
And Jeanette, you had not seen the extended cut, right?
No, I haven't. I wasn't really expecting, that big of a change, but the extended cut was honestly a lot better than the original. So 20 out of 10. Great movie.
Wow, that high.
Yes.
A high review. That's a high review.
It was like watching the movie for the first time.
Real quick, can I ask since I've only ever seen, for the first time, I watched it last night, and I watched the extended cut, or the director's cut, what were the differences? Because I've never seen the theatrical version. So what is, the main differences there? Is it that big of a change?
Yeah, there's a lot they cut out.
Yes, actually. Well, I saw a big change.
Mm-hmm. They, so you know that really, really creepy scene where, Reagan's mom is talking in the kitchen and then Reagan starts, spider crawling down the steps?
That was in it, though, wasn't it?
That was not in the theatrical cut, and that scene is one of the scariest scenes to me.
Oh, they added that. I thought you said that they cut that. Okay.
No. They added that to the extended. They cut it out of the theatrical. I believe they also cut out a few of the hospital scenes from the theatrical cut as well.
The first one was creepy.
Yeah.
The very first one, that one I've never seen. The one that you were talking about of Reagan crawling down the stairs, that I did remember. But the very first doctor's appointment where she's just humming, she's looking into nowhere, sliding down the walls, I thought that was why did they take it out of the theatrical movie? It was really good. It gave more of she is possessed. She's going into something that's not. She's not just sick, so it gave off a lot. It was really good.
Yeah, what I really like about this
creepy.
movie is that it shows the stages of possession.
Yes,
the actual documented stages of possession.
Oh my god.
It's really cool to watch Reagan's descent into demonic possession. So let's go back to the opening of the movie where we open up in, I believe was it Iraq? Was it Iraq?
Yes, northern Iraq.
Yes.
Cool, great. And we see Father Merritt. He's at an excavation site, and he digs up a piece of the Pazuzu statue.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I actually was about to text you guys and ask you if I was watching the right movie, because for the first 15 minutes he was just in northern Iraq just digging stuff, and I was like, what? I was like, what's going on? I said I thought this all took place in a house and everything like that, and then dude comes out with the little Pazuzu head, which is never actually said that it's Pazuzu, but I don't know what I was reading. I read some like plot summary as I was reading it for like more context, and it said that it was Pazuzu, but like never spoken about. But yeah, he comes out with that little head, and then he's not seen again for an hour and a half in the movie. And I was literally so confused. I was like, did I watch the first 15 minutes to something else and then like fall asleep and then I clicked on the right thing? I actually had no idea what that had to do with the plot until like the last 45-ish minutes when he pops back up. I also didn't know who that was.
Yeah, something that this movie did really well was introduce you to characters, because every character in this movie is important. Like Dr. Merritt, obviously Father Merritt, Father Carris, the detective. What was it? Detective, was it Kinderman? Was it Kinderman? Is that right? I think I wrote that down. Yeah, Kinderman.
It is.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just added so much more that to the movie, that it was so based in realism. Like we had a detective investigating the homicide. Everyone thought Reagan was just batshit crazy and not possessed.
Yeah,
that's
I liked
it's.
I don't mean to like. Sorry, I don't mean to skip ahead, but like when one of my favorite scenes was when they were in the hospital and there was like the 15 doctors in the room, and the mom was just like, "What is going on with my daughter? I don't understand. One of you needs to tell me something." And man was just like, "I don't know, dude. Maybe you should just go get an exorcism." Like, because this is crazy. This shit is insane to me. Like, I have no idea what's going on. And then she was like, "Are you serious? You want me to go do something that hasn't been practiced since like since the 16th century?"
Wait, what did she say? She said, "You want me to see a witch doctor?"
Yeah. She goes.
She called it a witch.
Yeah, she said, "So you're advising me to take my daughter to a witch doctor, or something like that?" And then the doctor's just like,
It's the disappointment in his face. He's like, okay, she's not getting the point, obviously.
Yeah, that too. Honestly, I thought they were kind of being respectful when they were like, "Dude, we don't know what's going on, man. Like, I'm gonna tell you something." He said, "You can maybe try this. It doesn't really work, but like it might." And then she was like, "So you're advising me 100% to go do this?" I was like, "No, he's not. Listen, I know you're a grieving mother, but listen, bro. You got stuff going on. Your daughter's bending backwards, man. Have you ever put her in gymnastics? No. Grab it. So you know that she can't do that on the regular. So just take her, man. Exhaust every option. You're an actress. You got money. I know you do. You're out here you're in a what is it? A Burke Dennings film? Yeah, you're in a Burke Dennings film. You got it. I know you got it like that.
Actress playing an actress.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed seeing a movie being filmed within a movie. That was actually a pretty cool scene.
Oh, that was cool, yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I thought it was a real riot, I'm not gonna lie.
I did too.
I didn't think they were filming. I thought it was a real riot. I was like, oh,
too.
Okay.
I was so confused. I was like, what is going on in this movie?
I also really liked that when it panned onto the bystanders watching the movie being filmed, that we see Damien Carris there. I think that was his introduction, wasn't it? Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
awesome.
that was. No.
Yeah, I think so.
Was.
I think so. Was it that or was it the bar scene? Because there's like a bar scene with him in it. Is that first or is it the?
I think that was after.
Oh, because he's talking to like another father. No, he's talking to that older father. That comes in at like the very, very end.
Oh,
that's
they're like having a drink or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know about that scene didn't need to be there, but it's okay.
So yeah, let's go back to the opening.
We're basically just guessing when his introduction was.
Yeah, we watched the extended cut. Who knows? So let's go back to the opening. It's really, really eerie when Father Merritt picks up the Pazuzu statue, and you can tell he's freaking out about it. And I love that when he goes to...
Yeah, he's tweaking.
He immediately knew what it was.
No, he knows. Yeah, Pazuzu's pretty well known. He's a well-known demon, and I believe that that demon's based on a real sculpture.
Yeah, I also read about that. It's a real demon, but they made him look a lot more evil in the movie than what he actually is in real life.
That whole opening scene is really eerie to me. The music, watching Merritt just freaking out at that table. He has to take those pills. And then he goes out and he sees the big statue of Pazuzu just standing on the hill. And then that's when we get... That's when we switch scenes, and we get this really, really cool camera pan in on this town, and it zooms in right on the McNeil household, and that's where we meet Reagan's mom, and that whole bit there with trying to remember what her name is. Give me a second here.
Which role?
What was Reagan's mom's name?
Chris
McNeil. There it is.
McNeil.
Chris McNeil. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Chris.
Yep, and we also had Sharon, and we also had, who was the butler? Was it Carl?
Yes. There was Carl, and there was the girl.
So
I don't remember the girl's name, but I remember Carl's name.
she kept yelling at Carl about the mice in the attic. That's right.
Yes.
And I really liked that. How they kept hearing, like, scurrying up in the attic, and Carl never found any mice. That was super, super scary.
Also, real quick, I just looked, and Pazuzu is a demon, and he is known for bringing famine during dry seasons and locusts during rainy seasons. So he's just like a demon of destruction. And he is also, his rival is another demon with a name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce, who is believed to cause harm to mothers and children during childbirth.
Oh, wow.
He's a demon, but he's like technically like a god, I guess.
Pazuzu?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, which would explain why
That is-
he's in like northern Iraq, where like, you know, a famine during dry seasons or locusts during rainy seasons could really like ruin the entire like season for, you know, like very isolated places like that in Iraq, which makes sense why they would be all freaked out and why there would be a statue there.
So you basically said everything I was trying to, like, I'm like, I remember they said it wasn't as bad as how they made him look in the movie.
Yeah.
All I know is that he was, like, something about destruction, which is what you mentioned.
Yeah,
And
no,
that's,
he's definitely
that's very interesting, honestly.
definitely supposed to be a little spooky guy, but it's not. Doesn't look like he's like terrible. He's fine.
Or we
All right.
Okay,
We're talking about a demon here.
Yeah, I listen. That's bad. I'm not trying to say he's like cool in my book, but I'm just saying like he's not like the worst. He's like,
Jesus.
I mean, like he's
also
like
just like
coasting
a
up.
little something I did my research on. Did y'all know that Max, the priest, what's his name? Priest, the
That's
father.
Father Merritt.
Father Merritt, yes. He was not as old as what they made him look like in the movie. He was 44.
No, that was all makeup.
I know.
Really?
That's
And-
something that kind of shocked me because I'm like, that's some really good makeup for... I don't know what I'm expecting from a 70s movie, but usually in a 70s, 80s movie, the SFX isn't always
Yeah.
that great. So that
No.
that was so cool. That was honestly...
In fact, they did such a good job on his makeup that in The Force Awakens, when you see his character, he looks the exact same.
Yeah,
It's like kind of crazy how good they did at his makeup.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
It's
and
very convincing. I didn't know.
He
that
would have
was-
been. He was like he was less than 50 in this movie. He was born in 1929, and this came out in 73. Yeah,
Yes.
so he would have been less than 50. He would have been like 40 something in this movie. That's kind of crazy. I thought, man looked like he was pushing 80 when he was out there just like
they did a
popping them
good
outwards.
job.
Oh my God.
Good job. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, his picture on IMDb is in color. Nobody else's is.
Dude, he excuse me, it's Father Marin with an N, not Merritt, excuse me. What was I about to say? I was about to say something about Father Marin.
That other priest in it, the one that comes in at the very very end and like talks to the detective, like the
He
Damien's
was actually
like
a real
boy
priest.
is still alive.
What's his name? It's Father something. Well,
It's Father
obviously
Dyer
Father something.
in the movie. Yeah, William.
Father
Yeah,
Dyer,
William
that's
O'Malley.
right.
He's 90 right now.
He's still alive?
Yep, still alive. Pushing 90.
Great. Max von Sydow had passed away 2 years ago. And the crazy story was I was actually doing a documentary on the Exorcist at the time for a multimedia horror show that I was going to perform live, and then the pandemic hit. So that never came to fruition, but it was really weird that I was working on a documentary, and then the next day I found out he died.
Wow.
Aww.
Yeah, it was weird. So let's get back to the movie. So there's a scene where Chris McNeil is walking home, and we hear the iconic score, the Tubular Bells, I believe it's called, and she walks past Damien talking to another priest, and we kind of hear what they're saying, and then this plane goes by, and we just can't hear anything. I really thought that was just a great use of the sound design.
I agree.
And it just makes you wonder what they were talking about. And Damien Carris is by far my favorite character in this movie. By far.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's great. His mother's dying. In fact, she dies in the movie. He's struggling with his faith. He doesn't know what to believe in. He wants to give up the religion. And then he's kind of forced back into it when he realizes that Reagan might actually be possessed. And that internal conflict that he was having was so interesting to me.
I agree.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
When Karis goes to see Reagan for the second time, I think it was the second time that she mentions Karis's mother. You know, she's in here with us. That was the first time. Okay. And you know how whenever he leaves, he's asking Chris, are you aware of my mother's passing? She's like, yeah, but is Reagan aware? No, she's not. And he kind of just sits there and like, oh, no. Like, I kind of felt like he was in this sort of, I was hoping for it not to be this, her being possessed. He's really he's like in denial, basically. He doesn't want to believe that she's possessed because he doesn't want to be involved. I guess it's more like fear. I don't know. Like, it's so the simplest of that. I just feel like he was just trying to avoid it. But now that he saw that she mentioned his mother, that's when he's like, all right, this is serious. So...
Yeah, I also was such a big fan of Damien Carris also being a psychiatrist. So he was walking this line of medicine and religion, and that was also another internal conflict that he was having.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like when he was on that steps, like exactly what you're talking about. Sorry, it's like. It was the exact like moment of where he just has so much going on. Like his mom just died. He's having that internal conflict that you were talking about, and like it just feels like he couldn't be bothered with that at the moment. And like, and then all of a sudden, he was like that was like his moment of like, oh, shit. Okay, yeah, I got to deal with this, and like this is something serious. And as much as I don't want to deal with it, like he's still a good man, so he has to step up. He has to do his part. And so that's when he goes and like convinces that's when he like goes and like asks the priest for like permission to do the exorcism, things like that.
Also a little thing, but I feel like
I also really like that he had to get like...
My bad. Go.
No, it's okay.
No, it was just a little thing that I remembered that I feel like he kind of felt a little guilty for not helping that one guy at the subway. Because, like, you know how Reagan also mentions that...
I actually wrote that down. I wrote that down because do you remember when Reagan is... I don't know if it's the...
It's the same voice of
It's the second
guy.
or third time Damien sees Reagan. It's Father, could you help an old altar boy? Yeah. It's that line because Reagan says that exact same thing to him.
Yeah.
And that's just so crazy that you said that because I wrote that same thing down. And that's also when Reagan brings out the your mother's in here with us, Karis. Would you like to leave a message?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be sure that she gets it. It's just like, ooh.
It follows up right
that
after
that was so bad. That was so bad. I was like, as soon as he said that, I was like, stop, bro! Don't bring his mom into this. She died like a day and a half ago. Relax. Also, I have a little bit of a question.
On him.
Oh, that was so disrespectful. That was so disrespectful.
The ultimate form
what
of disrespect.
He said he asked her to do something. He asked her to do something.
What's my mother's maiden name?
Yeah. That was it. So when that happened, I have a question about the mom. So when they're having the dinner party, right before that, they're having that little dinner party, and the other priest, Father Dyer, is there. Father Dyer's at that little dinner party, the one where Reagan comes down the stairs and then she like just pisses all over the carpet. But before that, Father Dyer says, "Oh, did you hear about his mother? Like, she passed away. She was all alone. It was a few days before they found her." But then later he says that she died in that ward, or like the little thing that she was in. There's some time missing there that I maybe didn't catch, or like something, but
no, I had noticed that too.
Father Carris says that, she died in that ward, and then Father Dyer says that she died in that apartment by herself, and it was a few days before they found her.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the demon playing tricks on him. I don't know if it was just poor writing. I honestly have no idea. If anybody listening to this knows the answer to that, feel free to let us know. I'd be actually thrilled to know that answer, because when I was watching the movie, I had the same question.
Or they probably just accidentally messed up the script.
It could have been that too, yeah.
That's interesting to think about, though.
One thing real quick before we keep going is I do want to touch about in the hospital when Father Carris goes to visit his mom, right when she gets institutionalized. It's his uncle, her brother, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So when she gets institutionalized, he goes there, and this is one of the points that I had written down because I thought this was a very, very cool thing. I don't know if it meant to be this way or if I just looked too far into it, but when he's on the way walking to the mom, there's the other patients that are getting all in his face. They're trying to grab him, and the I don't know, I guess like the assistant, the nurse, is like trying to push him off, and in the middle of that, there's like I don't know if you noticed, but he keeps getting things taken off of him that relate to his priesthood. So it's like on the way there to his mom, he's getting stripped of his priesthood so that he's not coming to her as a priest or a psychiatrist. He's coming to her purely as her son. And the final one, the most prevalent one, is when the girl walks up and takes that little white part in the priest outfit, like around the collar. She takes that, and that's like the final part of his priesthood. Because after that, he's just wearing a suit. So that's like the final thing of humanizing him. It felt like they were like symbolizing humanizing him on the way to his mom, so that when he gets to his mom and the mom's like yelling at him like, "Why'd you put me here? Why'd you put me here?" It becomes a very like real human moment between all of them, because he's been stripped away from all that stuff.
Right, and I also think it also could represent him losing faith.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I get that as well, actually. That does make a lot of sense. That's a good explanation for it as well.
I think right now is a great time to take a break before we get into the heavier stuff. So let's take a little break, and then we'll get back into it in a few minutes.
Cool.
This episode is pretty scary, but what's scarier is not having access to your favorite Paramount horror films like Friday the 13th, A Quiet Place, and Scream. With Paramount Plus, you have access to a mountain of entertainment, groundbreaking originals, iconic movies, hilarious reality shows, game-winning sports, and so much more. It's all here on Paramount Plus. Plans start as low as $4.99. If you bundle with Showtime, you can save up to 28%. This was a pretty intense episode, so if you need something lighthearted to distract your mind, Click the link in the description below to sign up for a free trial.
All right, and we are back with the second part of our Exorcist episode. I'm going to pick up to where Reagan is in her bedroom and her bed's shaking, and she goes to her mom and she's like, my bed's shaking. And they chalk it up to being, I think they said it was seizures, right?
Yeah.
So are you talking about the time that she just said it, or the time that we see it?
Said it.
So said it, first time is like, then they go into the doctors, they explain everything, and they say that it's something in the, what do they say, frontal lobe, or like
the frontal lobe. There's like a lesion on the frontal lobe is what they said.
Exactly.
And that they wanted to get rid of the scarring and all this stuff. And that poor girl went through all these tests and all this stuff, and that was super hard for me to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Nobody likes to be pricked and prodded around a freaking doctor's office. Nobody likes that. And then we get the scene where the bed is shaking and Reagan is on top of it.
My bad. About the whole bed shaking thing. They mention something about a lesion. The doctor said something about
a lesion in the
that.
frontal lobe, and that's what they were trying to determine in the hospital scenes, is where it was and all this stuff.
Oh, okay.
And lesion is just a fancy word for cut, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it just means that there's like a little cut in her brain, and they think that maybe that's affecting a lot of people that have seizures, like in like modern day and everything, have either just like the tiniest little scratch on like their brain, or all the way up to where they can have like something like about the size of like a raspberry that could be attached to their brain, and that can cause you seizures, and it's just very like randomized. So when they talk about like the lesion in her head and everything, they're just saying that there's like a little small cut in there that's just like messing some stuff up, and that could have to do with why she's having those seizures.
Right.
All right, and then we get to the scene where Chris McNeil sees the bed actually shaking, and then she goes to the doctor. She's like, I saw it. It was shaking. That was not Reagan. And this is when we get into the crazy descent into possession, where Reagan pees on the floor, where you see the scene with the crucifix. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that on the podcast. And then you clearly see Reagan moving shit with her mind. So clearly something is wrong, and I think at that point Chris McNeil is convinced that her little girl is possessed, and that's when she seeks out Father Carris.
So that scene with the crucifix, I have never in my life seen something. So little personal anecdote. I was watching this at my girlfriend's house, and I fell asleep when I watched it last night. I'm going to be real with you. And then I rewatched it this morning because I needed to see everything. It wasn't because it was boring. It was because I was tired. We didn't start the movie till like 1 a.m. So I woke up, and all I could think about was last night, that movie was playing loud. She's got younger brothers. She's got like other people in the house. Is all I could think about was just that thing playing over the TV. We were watching it loud too. So all I could think about was just like muffled, like in another room, just like "Fuck me, Jesus, fuck me, Jesus, fuck me, Jesus," like that playing so loud. I was like, "Whoa, my God! I hope they didn't see that. I hope they didn't hear that." Oh my God!
Oh, that's such a fucked up scene. Oh.
Okay.
But yeah, let's.
When you were talking about the crucifix, did John happen to notice something before that graphic scene? Chris came home and she obviously found that crucifix under her pillow, and she was asking everyone like, hey, did y'all put this under her pillow? She's all like getting in everyone's face, and then the detective comes in, and she puts it right next to the table, right next to where they're sitting. And then we don't see anyone where that same crucifix, is the one that Reagan was using. So it's kind of like it just randomly went up into her bedroom, you know? So it was just kind of something that I was thinking about. It didn't really, they didn't really clarify it, you know?
Well, Reagan was not tied up then, and remember, she couldn't figure out who got the crucifix under her pillow. I am willing to bet that Reagan was the one that put it under her pillow to protect herself.
So, what I'll say is that there's 100% things that we don't see in this movie because there's a big, there's that big plot point. Well, it's not a huge plot point. They actually skip over it really, fast. Is it that the statue, I think it was of Virgin Mary, in the church was all, defaced, and they, did a bunch of, clay work on it, and Reagan's whole thing that, they build up to is that she loves to make clay, and she likes to make these little animals and stuff, meaning that was her, which means that she was running around doing all kinds of stuff when we didn't see her before she was all tied up. She was up to some tomfoolery around that town, which means that she was the one that did that, and I promise you, she was probably the one that went right down there, grabbed that crucifix, brought it back up there, and right before that scene happened. So I bet that's what it is.
That makes more sense.
That makes perfect sense, and I don't know why that has never crossed my mind. Oh my god, that answered so many questions for me. Wow. But yeah, that's when we get Father Carris comes to see her and all this stuff, and then they deem it worthy of an exorcism. And that's when they put Father Marin and Father Carris on said exorcism. And then we get that absolutely iconic shot of Father Marin getting out of the taxi and walking up to the house in the fog with his briefcase and his hat on. And I think that's the poster for it on everything. Which is it's a great picture. It really is. And then, that's when things start to get wild. Well, even more wild.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So yeah. Father Carris and Father Marin have a conversation downstairs, and I believe they hear Reagan scream, and they go up there, and they see her tied to the bed. And then this is when we start the exorcism. And I'm going to go back just a little bit in the movie. When Father Karras saw her for the first time and he splashed the fake holy water on her, and she was freaking out about it, like it was just regular water. And it wasn't, she was just acting like it was hurting her. So that's something I noticed was when they used the real holy water on Reagan, it would tear her skin open, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah, so because in that final exorcism scene when they're splashing the water and doing all that, it actually shows a close-up at one point on her leg of it tearing her skin when the water, when the droplet hits her skin. So, and also, I did not know that the first time that he went there that was fake holy water. I thought that was also real holy water because he pulled it out of that little bottle with the cross on it. I thought it was real too, and she was just getting a little bit hurt by it, but he was just testing. So when they were doing that final scene and it was actually hurting her and the it started tearing her and started ripping her skin off, that was crazy. And I also just real quick want to mention that every time you see Reagan, she looks more like shit because of how much it's affecting her, and it's literally tearing her from the inside out. And the demon at one point even says I think it's Father Karras that says, what are your intentions, or when is this over? And then she says along the lines of when she's down rotting in the ground. So he's literally trying to take this girl, rot her to death, and then move on to the next person. The intentions of this demon are not to go do something, not to take this person to go do something. It's literally just taking people out one at a time, is all he's happy with.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if it's such a small, it's not a small scene, it's a pretty big scene, but it's a very short scene. When I think her name is Sharon, she grabs Father Karras, and they run upstairs to see on Reagan's stomach, it's from the inside it says, it's carved, "Help me." So that's Reagan trying to get out. That's so scary to me. So yeah, and then we cut to our exorcist, and Father Marin starts, and you can tell that Father Karras is just terrified, and he just does not know how to handle this. Because, he's never done an exorcism, obviously. He said that they hadn't been doing them for decades now. And he's also questioning his faith. So I think that when he's doing the exorcism, the more he sees that it is effective, the more he starts to... his faith comes back. Mm-hmm. I mean, when they do the exorcism and the bed starts floating, I mean, that's enough. That's enough for me to be like, yep, she's possessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when they're doing that exorcism, you like what you're talking about, you can literally see his faith coming back because, like, as it progresses, like, I mean, like, he goes in there and he's, like, doing it, and he's like, all right, let's read the words. Everything's fine. And then, like, stuff starts happening, and, like, she starts reacting to the holy water, and then you can see him, like, when they both go down on their knees, and they're reciting the scripture, and they're, doing the holy water, and they're doing, like, their, chants and stuff, you can literally see him starting to freak out more and more and more. And then, in the middle of that, there's a scene where you see Father Karras, like, sitting there on the bed, and he misses his line because he's getting so scared. Like, he's sitting there, and he's like, what is going on? He all he can look at is he can't believe what he's seeing, because he's about to give up on the faith, and then all of a sudden the faith is thrown directly in his face of, like, this is real, and you are a part of it, and, like, you need to help right now. There's no time for you to be questioning your faith anymore. You need to just get in here, you need to do it. And I think he has that realization in that moment.
Yeah. Definitely that scene is so powerful too. It's just so hard to watch.
It was very intense, like,
because, I mean, Reagan is just a little girl, and she is just, seeing Father Karras, like, he's so scared he can't even finish the rest of the prayer. And then I think they take a break after they get Reagan calm. And I mean, I remember Reagan is just oozing puke out of her mouth while Father Marin is just finishing up this section of the exorcism, and he goes, "Are you tired?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then they all take a break, and then they come back to finish it. And then that's when Reagan she turns her head 360, she starts floating in the air. That's when the holy water thing happens, and you see her legs tearing open. And then she slowly goes back down after the power of Christ compels you. And it's nuts. And then the room starts, like, shaking, and they both, like, fall over.
Right. That's, like, honestly very... I kind of cried when Karras died. Because it was honestly, like, a very intense... It was an intense scene, and especially in the extended, we get to see more of that. I don't remember if they put that in the theatrical movie, but I feel like we saw a lot more of Karras' death, like, in the extended, and I wanted to mention something very quick. I'm kind of going to change the subject. So when you said that when they walked into the house to, perform the exorcism, Reagan greets him with a scream, basically screaming his name. I put the captions, so that's why I'm like, I knew she was calling his name, basically. Who was it? Father... Was
it Marin? Or Karras?
Marin, yeah, he screamed... Marin. And, I was honest, the whole time I thought that was actually Linda Blair's voice, but it was actually Mercedes McCambridge's voice. And it was another... Yeah. They had to get a whole other person to create this voice, and she took that to a whole different level of dedication, because she broke her sobriety by drinking whiskey before shootings so she could sound a lot more aggressive. Yeah, she broke her sobriety so she can sound a lot more aggressive with her words. She was chain smoking heavily to make her voice more raspy, and she would go as far as vomiting to make her voice a lot more tired and raspy to create that
Are you serious?
Yes, and I was honestly curious because I wanted to see if they changed up Linda's pitch. That's what I thought at first, is that they changed her pitch or something, but they were like, no, this is not convincing. We're going to hire someone. And Miss Mercedes McCambridge took that to she really took that seriously, and she got no credit for it until she sued Warner Bros. I think, right? Yeah, she ended up. I know she ended up suing because she got no credit for it.
That is so crazy. I knew that somebody else voiced the demon Reagan. I did not know they put themselves through that extent. That is dedication, and to be honest, she definitely deserves that recognition. If she went that, if she went that far for that role. Oh my god!
She broke her sobriety.
I mean, good for her. She killed it. I will say that was convincing.
It was scary.
Very.
But then Father Karras gets really emotional because Reagan turns into his mother. And she's all like, why did you leave me there? And all this stuff. And she really gets into Damien's head. The exorcism, it gets so intense that Father Karras has to leave the room. Father Merrin doesn't think he's fit to be in there. And clearly Reagan has gotten into his head, so it's just best for him to leave. And then it gets quiet. And then Father Karras goes back into the room. And he sees his mother sitting on the bed. Wait, is that before? That's before. That happens before.
Do you think... Yeah, that does. Do you think that maybe... I'm trying to think. And I think that maybe what it might have been is that Father Merrin... Yeah? Merrin?
Merrin.
Father Merrin is much more secure, like, in his faith. And that, so he doesn't really mess with the demon doesn't really mess with Father Merrin as much as it does with Father Karras. And I feel like that might be an indicator of like, oh, Father Karras is like a little bit weaker in his faith, so I think I can mess with him more, and I think I could get farther inside of his head than I could with this other one. So let me just target him for a while, see if I can get into it. And then him being like, hey, you need to leave the room, was like all the assurance that she needed to be like, all right, I think I might have control of this now. Before that final, whole exorcism happens and like all the intense stuff happens when she's, getting lifted and all that. I think that was like her final, like, or I guess Pazuzu's final, like, got it. I got him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then I'm going to go back to the movie. So after Karras leaves the room, he comes back in to see Father Merrin has been killed. And he's just laying on top of the bed. And Reagan is just sitting there so quiet. It's so eerie. And you can't tell if it's the demon in control of Reagan or Reagan until the demon starts laughing. That's just horrifying imagery to me. And then we see Father Karras just loses it and attacks this little girl. It just starts wailing on her. Like what? She's got to be 12 or 13, God. And this grown-ass man bodies her.
She really does. The full Nelson that he puts her in is crazy, dude. Like man had a major in psychology and a minor in WWE. He went crazy. Don't forget, bro.
He was a boxer. Reason. He's a boxer.
Oh,
that's right.
I thought you said he just looked like a boxer. I thought that was the whole line was like he looks like one. He used to be a boxer for real.
Yes.
Oh, that makes it so much funnier. Bro,
I know. I mean, it's not funny. It's not funny.
You sure, bro? Because
the
way I was cracking up during that, and then you know what it reminded me of when that scene happened is when a long time ago. Mark did this like kind of like little short film thing, and one of the actresses in it, instead of pulling her punches, punched Mark in the nose so hard.
No, it was in the mouth.
He started
It was in the mouth.
in the mouth. That's all I can think about is like, oh my gosh, if he actually just bodied this little girl, like what if he didn't pull one of his punches? Like she would just die straight up. But like she is so little and frail. She's just wearing makeup.
Yeah.
That's why she was probably crying.
And then he's just screaming at the demon to come into me, take me, and then it does. And you know that Reagan is just in so much pain because she just got bodied. When she comes to. She's just... Oh, poor girl has just really gone through it. Yeah, but that's when Father Karras decides to throw himself out the window for the greater good. And right then and there, Father Dyer comes over. He gives his final confessions, which also is just beautiful because it just... At that moment, you realize that his faith is restored.
Yeah. It's definitely a nice moment. It was a nice way to end the movie. And then, it was earlier in the movie.
I wouldn't even say it was a nice way to end the movie. It was like low-key traumatizing.
I think honestly, all it gave me was like, it gave me a lot of like vibes that there was going to be a second one, and there is a second one, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I've never
Did it have
watched the
anything-
sequels. I don't think they're worth it. Oh, speaking of sequels, this is just a little fun fact for you guys. So you know how David Gordon Green is doing the Halloween trilogy now? He's just about to wrap it up with Halloween Ends. He is taking over The Exorcist next, and he's doing the same thing he did with Halloween and doing a direct sequel to the first Exorcist movie. So, we are getting more Exorcist movies.
Oh, that's exciting.
Honestly, all I have to say is that it better have something to do with that coin, because they were throwing that coin around a lot in the last like 5 minutes. Like the help, whoever, the housekeeper girl, she found it, gave it to the mom. The mom gave it to the Father Dyer,
and then Father Dyer gave it
Father
back.
Dyer gave it back, like, and then they like talk about it. I was like, this is so much. That's why I kept thinking like, oh, there's gonna be a second one. Because like I said, I've never seen it before, so like I didn't even know that there was a second one. I thought there was, but I was like, I don't know. But I was like, oh, there's gotta be, with all this talk about this coin, and it's the same coin that they find in the dig site, that the original father found in the dig site at the beginning of the movie. So it was a nice little like circle that they brought it back to. So I was happy they did that. At least.
The way that it truly ended was actually, it was kind of beautiful. Remember they're saying Reagan doesn't remember a thing, and then she sees the priest's collar, and she gives him a kiss on that cheek, and that, she remembers. She remembers.
Yeah. She's got something. Well, what I'll say is there has to be some sort of like consciousness inside with the demon because of the help me that was written on her stomach. So Reagan's in there. She knew what was going on. She was very conscious of all these things that the demon was doing when she was not in control, or else she wouldn't have been able to get that little message out. So she does remember something. Maybe she's just saying that she doesn't remember it to make it easier for everybody around her, and like also so she doesn't have to deal with like the guilt. Maybe it's like was my assumption.
That would make sense.
I think it also might have to do because weren't they like blaming her for? God, I really should have written these names down.
Oh,
yes,
for
his death.
the guy that got pushed out the window.
Yes,
we didn't even touch
and-
on that.
Yeah, I know how. Like,
I wanted to.
I was just saying, like, I think that might be it, you know, like, that she also kind of remembers that, and she just doesn't want to, like, bring it up, but that also, they probably did talk about that in the sequels, but I haven't watched them, so maybe they probably did.
Yeah. So yeah, Burke gets killed, and this incredible detective character comes into play, and he's like my second favorite character in the movie. He was very interesting to me, and he added a really cool element to the movie. And God, he was funny. This movie had some really funny moments in it too. I'm trying to remember the one. It got really fucking funny at one point, and it just cut to a different scene. I can't remember. I should have wrote it down, but I was too immersed into the film. Anyway, so the movie ends, and after seeing all that traumatizing stuff, this really intense, upbeat score starts playing. Just like, what the fuck? But yeah, that's The Exorcist. That's pretty much how the movie goes. How did you guys feel about the extended cut? Did you like it better than the theatrical cut? Janet and Kinson, what did you think about your first viewing? Was it scary? Was it... Tell me everything.
Definitely loved it more than the original. It feels like I watched The Exorcist for the first time. Like, it was a whole different experience than from the first one. So, like I said, I stick with my thoughts. It's a 20 out of 10.
So, what I'll say is I did love it. I actually do really like it, and this is the first time that I've ever watched it, and I purposely, when you said, I was actually thinking about watching it, and then you said, Mark, you said that we might want to do it for the first episode, and so I held off watching it for a few weeks, and I was like, okay, let me watch it, let me make sure it's fresh the very first time. And so I did, and something I'll say is that, like, one of my only, like, critiques, really, is that I think that this movie would have scared the shit out of me in 1973. Like, I would have been terrified of this thing in 1973. But in 2022, it was not as scary as it was, maybe, like, you know, shocking or, like, daunting to watch. It had a lot more hype around it than what I thought. That being said, it was still a really, really good movie, and I liked it a lot. When I like sat there and I rewatched it this morning, I was like sitting there thinking, I found myself about halfway through being like, I am so immersed right now, and then, you know, I just ended up liking it a lot. And then also, I want to let you guys know that I have a little gift for you guys, which is I went and looked through all the 1-star reviews of this movie just to see if these would be funny, and I got about 7 of them for you, if you guys want to hear these.
Yeah, I can't wait. In fact, let's jump right into it.
Okay, awesome. So, I'm going to name one, and then I just want you guys to give your opinions on these reviews, okay? These go from, I think, like, all the way from, like, they go from 2 years ago to, what would it be now? 22 hours ago was the most recent one. So, I'll start first. So, first one is from Stephanie H. She says, I remember when I was 5 years old. I went down the stairs and asked my mom what she was watching. She told me I was going to get scared. I said, no, I'm not. I got all into the movie, and my mom hid behind the couch, put on makeup as I was looking around, and popped out and scared the piss out of me. Now, I, 32, am slowly getting over my fear of watching The Exorcist, but I'm taking baby steps. For the longest time, I wouldn't watch it because of what my mom did, so I'm giving it a 1 star.
Because of something outside of the movie?
Literally not even about the movie. She was like, I got traumatized as a kid, so I hate this movie. That's funny. That's so funny to me. This one is the one. I took these screenshots about like 3 p.m. today. It's like about 7 now. So it's about 21 hours old. It says, the fact that some sites say that this is the scariest movie, just no. Sorry. But it wasn't even scary. I'm 13 and I legit laughed the whole time. So funny, not scary.
Oh my god, so edgy.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, you're
Oh,
I
God.
can tell
I
the
know
kid
for
you
a
were in
fact.
class. Yeah, I knew you in school and you were so annoying.
This is one cool
Oh my
13.
That's what I'm saying, man. This 13-year-old doesn't leave the house without sunglasses on. All right, let's see.
Oh god. He's got
next
2
one.
X's before his Xbox gamer tag.
Got to. Little one, big one. And then the name, and then
Yep,
big one,
yep.
little one. For sure.
Yep, yep.
So this one is...
This is the coolest kid in Wisconsin.
That's
bro.
what I'm saying, man. He's the... Never mind. 6 months ago. That's what this one's from. So, don't watch this. People in theaters started running away, crying and vomiting, and 9 people died on set with a serial killer on set as well. This is a cursed movie, so don't watch this unless you want to be cursed, with a side of demon hauntings on you.
I'm gonna be so real with you. That is funny because I have a segment on how this film is cursed.
Yeah, I know.
I was about to get into that, but I was gonna let you do your reviews first.
Well, we'll hit on that right after, because I got a few more here, but I did want to talk about that, so I'm glad that you have a little thing on that. But I'll get into the next one. So this one made me laugh just because it was so small. It's from 11 months ago. Someone named Yana says, I hardly understood anything in this movie. Too complicated for children. 1 star.
For children. Oh my god.
This is the best one. This is the best one. Okay, so 1 year ago, someone named Irie or something like that. This says, I don't like this movie because I lived a better one. 1 star. That's the most ominous thing I've ever heard in my life.
I would hope someone would have a better life than that movie. It's one of the most...
No.
What?
I mean, I guess I took that as that, like, they've lived something scarier. That's how I took it as. Okay.
Somebody check
I think I got 2 more for you. So, second to last one is 1 star. My elementary school friend liked The Exorcist. That's it.
That's it?
That's the whole review. That's the whole review, and then they rated it 1 star.
Ah, beautiful.
They hated their elementary school friend. They hated him.
That was the first ending.
Man cheated in a hopscotch, and he was like, I'm going to leave a review. That's so funny.
My man got pissed over tetherballing.
Facts.
Knew that this was his favorite movie.
Yeah, they were using prank ropes on tetherball, and he got mad. All right, this is from a week ago. This dude named Jackson said, I think honestly it might be the funniest one. Says, this film is not as good as Morbius. That's it.
Are you referring to Marvel legend Morbius?
Yes, Dr. Morbius.
Dr. Michael, Marvel legend Morbius.
Yeah. They said it's not as good as when Morbius yelled, "It's Morbin time." No, it doesn't say that, but
No, I thought it really did.
No.
Wow.
No, those were the reviews. I went down this morning and just sorted by 1 star and just went through them just to try to find like a few of the funny ones. Those are just like 7 that I found. That's hilarious.
That is funny.
That 13-year-old one really got me. Not gonna lie.
Oh,
because
that's so funny. He's so edgy. I love that he needed to put his name, like his age in there.
Mom lets me pick
That's
up
so
my
I'm
own
13,
clothes.
and this did not scare me. Damn, that's a tough
Oh my
kid.
gosh, it sounds like every Disney Channel character original. Like, it sounds like Debbie Ryan could play this character. Just be fine, you know?
Definitely,
that's funny.
definitely.
All right, but I do want to hear. So yeah, we touched on one of these about like this is the cursed movie, things like that. Mark, I want to hear what you have written down and what you got for us for that.
Okay, so a lot of strange shit went on during the filming of this movie. There was an actual serial killer working on the set, which is actually insane. That's nutty. So the actress that played Chris McNeil, the scene where Reagan smacks her and she falls back, they had a rig to pull her back, and the stuntman pulled it wrong and permanently injured her spine.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This one's weird. So they're filming this movie, and they come in one day, and their set is completely covered in snow. Like, there's just a thin layer of snow on the set, which doesn't seem crazy, but the set is in a warehouse.
Well, what?
So the reason that this happened was, well, this is what they think, is that they left the AC on super cool, because, you know, in the scene, it's cool in the house, you can see their breath, and they think that it just kind of iced over, which is still kind of weird to, like, walk into that in the morning.
I mean,
Yeah.
I remember 5th grade, and I remember the water cycle pretty well. And I don't think that's how it works. I think you need like you need rain.
You need condensation, precipitation. You need all that shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You need a lightning cloud.
You need a lightning cloud. I know. I promise you, there was no cumulonimbus on set. All right. I need. Yeah, I'm gonna need. That's someone that wanted this movie to do well. Just like explaining that away, because there's no way. That's crazy.
And this is one of the craziest ones. So Warner Brothers had to hire security to protect Linda Blair for 6 months after the movie was released because she had so many death threats after playing Reagan.
Whoa.
People just thought there was like subliminal messaging, and they thought that this was like glorifying Satanism and all this shit. So she had to walk around with a security team for 6 months.
Damn.
She was only 14.
Isn't
That's
that
also
nuts?
very sad.
I know. Poor
like,
girl.
imagine being like under so many death threats at that age. No, thank you.
I know, that's really sad. But overall, this movie's super, super enjoyable. It's one of my favorite paranormal movies out there. And you know what? Let's just talk about our favorite things about the movie before we wrap this up. The strongest thing for me in this movie, and I've already touched a little bit on this, is Father Damien Carris, played by Jason Miller. I thought he stole the show. And an interesting fact about that is that they were eyeing Al Pacino for that role. Isn't that actually nuts?
I could see that. Actually. They kind of look similar, actually.
Yeah, they do. A little bit. They do. But they decided on Jason because he looked so much more intense.
Yeah, I get that.
He is
He
an
needed to be, though.
intense-looking guy.
Yeah, he needed to be.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, I really love the whole struggling with his faith thing. I love the detective investigating the death as a homicide. And I just liked how it was all wrapped up. Every storyline kind of wrapped up at the end. And I love the end when Father Dyer and the Detective Kinderman have a conversation. And he goes, "You like going to the movies?" And it's an echo from what happened earlier with Damien Carris, where Kinderman describes the movie, and both fathers go, "I've already seen that one."
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yes.
All right, what were some of your guys' favorite parts?
I think for me, the scene that I liked the most was where Karras died. When Karras died, because I feel like we got, like I said, we got more of his of his story. You know, we got more of it on the extended version than the theatrical one. So I think we got more of the bond between Father Dyer and Karras, you know, it was just like a very touchy moment for me. But I think the most cool scene that I thought was amazing was when Reagan was crawling down the stairs. That part actually freaked me out. So I thought that was really cool, and I'm actually curious if that was Linda or if they hired someone to do that, because that was an intense scene, to be honest. It was really cool.
It's so scary. I can't believe that they cut that out of the original movie.
So, what I'll say is, in my first time watching, like, I feel like I need to watch it a few more times to get, like, an actual, like, sense of what my, like, favorite is. But what I will say is my first, watch and a half, I guess, what I did is my favorite scene in the entire thing was something we didn't even touch on, actually, was in the middle of the exorcism when there was that shot where they let her out and then she gets off the bed and things like that, and she does like this crazy pose, and then you see the light coming in through the window, and there's the Pazuzu statue comes into the room, and it's just like it's like illuminated for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then it goes away, and then she's back on the bed. Was like so intense. That was such a crazy scene. And, like, it was, like, just such a crazy shit happening. And, like, everyone was getting, like, flown around because the room's all shaking and everything. But that was crazy. That was one of my favorite scenes, is just, like, that shot right there. And just like in that moment, I feel like it did so much for the film.
Definitely agree.
Yeah. That scene is just so eerie. The way that like Reagan is stretching her body, and then you see the light come in, you see Pazuzu's statue standing there. It's freaky. It's really freaky.
Exactly.
Question: did anyone notice the pictures flashing on the screen? That was not on the theatrical one.
I forgot about that.
Oh, the demon imagery that we kept seeing.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
and also the statue was popping up a lot in Reagan's room, like out of nowhere. Like when Chris walks out, you can see it right next to the door, which I couldn't really see because my brightness was down. But which one was it? The creepy one that popped up right next to the kitchen, right next to Chris. That one got me.
Yeah,
thought
it's
that
a
was really
freaky
cool,
looking
'cause I
face,
wasn't
and it
in the
shows up a
theatrical
few
one.
times. It shows up a few times in the movie if you keep watching
Yeah.
the background. It's freaky. It's freaky.
Like in scenes, like randomly it'll just like a flash of it, you know, and then in other scenes it would be in the same scene, like just on a corner or something. It's weird. You just got to keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, and it is horrifying when it happens. It's so subtle, but it works. It works. And I'm very eager to see what they do in the requels that they're about to come out with. I'm excited. I hope they're horrifying. I hope I can't sleep. I hope I puke and run out of the theater. That's what I want.
Me too.
Hope I projectile vomit and run out of this theater.
I hope
I
I
hope
shit my pants, puke,
Yeah.
and run all at the same time.
Same, dude. I hope I, just like Jude, start running away and crying and vomiting in the theater.
I hope it takes away every motivation to ever do any other horror film or horror TikTok ever again.
Yeah, I'm trying to retire after I see
Exactly.
Damn, we got a year then. Yeah, so like I said, this is one of my favorite paranormal movies. I'm actually geeked that this is the first one we've done. And I think this is a good place to leave off. Are there any final words you'd like to say about this film?
No?
I'm all right.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, that was our first episode. Thank you for listening to our breakdown and review of the Exorcist Extended Director's Cut. I definitely prefer this one over the theatrical cut. I like how much it added to the film. It definitely felt more of a descent into the possession. And that's what I like to see. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I am Mark, and this is Kinson and Jeanette, and we are signing off. Thank you so much for listening to Creep It 100.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
But remember to follow us on social media at CreepIt100Pod. We have an Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so be sure to follow us there for exclusive content. Alrighty, thank you so much for listening again. We will see you next Tuesday.